The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.
Have said I have gone beyond these worldly issues. I have been going beyond the excitement of Jay-Z's fucking album dropping. Not to say you can't comment or not talking about it or ignoring it doesn't make you conscious, but you know what I'm talking about when your emotions are in that bullshit.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. This is the Shift Report. I'm your host, the Hood Mystic, and this is where shift happens, man. I got an exciting show scheduled and planned for you. Let me stop lying. The show is not going to be exciting. It's going to be informative, high vibrational, and critical, right? As we examine Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. And for the life of me, I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the halftime show at all. However, so many people on social media was talking about it that I decided to take a quick gander. And so I'm not going to react to the whole entire video because it was 13 minutes and 52 seconds. I think I got like 5 or 6 clips and just some additional information and backstory to Kendrick Lamar, the Super Bowl, from just my personal observation and, dare I say, a spiritual perspective. And a lot of this is coming in the wake of examining and re examining Brother Panic's Kundalini video with Alim El Bey. And in that, he was talking about a lot of stuff. But when I first heard that, lecture, because I used to just listen to everything Brother Panic has said, I never heard it the way that I hear it now. Like when I hear it now, it's like I hear what he is saying. But when I first heard it, I did not hear what he was saying at all. All I remember from it was no Kundalini for you. And he was specifically speaking to me because at that time, I was so concerned with the outer world that it controlled me in all ways. So when you're a slave to the external world, everything in you is on lockdown. So even if you do hear like that, so you can Google it or YouTube it, Alim El Bey, Brother Panic, Kundalini, it should come up. Now I've been listening to it, and he was talking about Jay-Z. And what he said, it really struck a chord with me, and I didn't think nothing of it because this whole Kundalini experience for me, I just been asking my soul or God to just lead me to information that I need to deal with to bring it across to the masses because I'm not consciously choosing to do the chakra nova. I'm being spiritually led. And in reference to the world, I don't know how to communicate a deep inward process to what's going on in the world. So I just been more or less in prayer and meditation and just wanting to be guided to the information that resonates with me, but also resonates with the collective. So lo and behold, in the year of the snake, I didn't even realize that Kendrick Lamar does a Super Bowl halftime show. And in the Kundalini video with Brother Panic, he goes on to say, because during the time of the video, Jay Z put out an album called Magna Carta, and at that time, people were spiritualizing it, and Brother Panic was on the side of you can like Jay Z, You can like Kendrick Lamar. You can like the Super Bowl. You can like the Super Bowl halftime show. But it's not spiritual in a sense where it will have any effect on your life. In reference to doing occult rituals, that's more of your personal responsibility. So I want to just, it was some things that I thought was very interesting though, and it was only from my perspective. So I want to share that with the collective and have more of a neutral or even oppositional take to. I feel like most spiritual people are on the side of Team Kendrick and the Super Bowl performance really meant something and it had strong significance. And I would say maybe yes, right? Maybe in the world it does. But my thing is with God is that I don't want God to speak to me in symbols and codes. And I don't want God to be rhetorical, meaning that I just don't want God to pat me on my ass and say, "Good job, Kyrie, you're doing great." I want God to tell me straight up, boy, you're fucking up and you need to do this and you need to do that. And if you're willing to do this, if you're willing to do that, you will be rewarded. So when and exactly when spiritual people say things of the Super Bowl really meant something spiritual, as if you couldn't tap into some major shit the day before the Super Bowl, the day after Super Bowl. You couldn't have tapped into shit 4 months ago. That is where I'm just like, this Super Bowl meant nothing. But it meant something because I'm going to cover it and I'm going to talk about it. But I guess I can show y'all better than I can tell y'all. The first thing we're going to get into is Brother Panic. Then I'm going to just show bits and pieces of the actual performance, and then I'll give my commentary to those bits and pieces and just show y'all just kind of the layout on how I saw it. So, piece of the tribe, piece of the collective. That was the intro. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and tapping in with the campaign, with the ministry. And the ministry is very simple. You know, if you do not do the inner work, it don't matter. If Garth Brooks was on the Super Bowl halftime show, you would have still had to activate Kundalini. One's in the chat. So here go Brother Panic explaining this concept a little bit more deeper and a little bit more intimate. Ashe, rise in the astral realm, Brother Panic. You are missed, you are loved, and just keeping the flame flowing. All right, so peace to the initiates, peace to the flame holders, and yeah.
And to be able to say, well, I like it or I don't like it. When you try to make that shit spiritual, love, the differences, you get what I'm saying? So there's no crime for you to like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There's no crime for you to be able to listen to Magna Carta and to be able to say, well, I like it or I don't like it. When you try to make that shit spiritual, though, that's when you went crazy. You get what I'm saying? That's when you went fuck crazy. When you trying to make Nicki Minaj spiritual, you lost your fucking mind. If you cannot sit there just because you personally like her, you know what I'm saying? Which I can't figure that out anyway, but that's just me. But 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 see, there's shit that I personally like that I'm not gonna force down your throat as spiritual. You get what I'm saying? I love Ghostface Killer, but I'm not gonna tell you he's motherfucking Obatala. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I feel a certain way about him. You know what I'm saying? I know the difference. To me, I think he's amazing as a rapper and as a talent and so on and so forth. But so the fuck what? You get what I'm saying? That doesn't amount to no more than my opinion. So I'm not going to put my opinion on you and call it fucking spiritual and deep. You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So because this is the understanding that about self-identification versus collective unconsciousness. You give me.
So like whenever there are these rituals and halftime shows and whatever you want to call it, whatever is going on in the news during this particular time that people are like very caught up in. There's two levels to this. There is the internal world where your world is the only world that exists. And whenever you can find people to agree with it, you have some form of community and things of that nature. But then there's also the objective understanding of the nature of the matrix that's actually taking place. Right? Right now, as it stands, we are on the precipice of violating the trust of the government. When we violate the trust of the government, the dollar tanks. So we are about to deal with one of the greatest resets, and that should be not to scare you, right? Not to like, not even to warn you, but to simply prepare you into the reality of fiat currency, the reality of cryptocurrency. Like that's a real thing that's taking place that I'm not sure that Kendrick Lamar got on stage and propagated the importance of preparation. What took place was a new age, sophisticated minstrel show. And the minstrel show is like the root of performance and entertainment because life does not rotate around an artist singing a song. Life does not rotate around a player throwing a ball. Since the earliest of times, especially in this country, the thing that is like one of the number one governmental tools, the government wants to keep the people asleep. The Super Bowl is a spectacle, a ceremony, and a ritual that if you watch it live, you are put under ritual because that's the purpose of it. They want to lower your consciousness in reference to the objective reality and to get into a proper state of preparation. A lot of things that have happened or will happen, they don't just come out the blue. They're actually a slow burn. There is like an analogy of frogs and boiling water. And the reason that they transition in the water, they could have jumped out, but the heat get turned up ever so slightly. And so the conversations that as indigenous people need to be having is when you understand fiat currency and you understand that us being indigenous are the government and the corporation, which is the presidents 1 through 47, are custodials. These are represent, that's why they call it the House of Representatives. The Senate is representing the people. The president is the chief executive order of a corporation. That corporation is an institution that administers and distributes the wealth of the world, and we are the wealth. We have access to that wealth, but we as a nation do not talk about gaining access to who and what we truly are. We will fall for spectacle and then spiritualize it. No, bro. The root of all sports is especially the sports that people play today is ancient Mayan, Olmecan tradition. So the certain keys and codes in reference to 2025. Now, one of the big things when we talk about astrology is Mayan astrology. 2012, they said that this thing was going to end. And in fact, it did, but we don't understand the science of consciousness. The world did end, we just didn't feel it or recognize it. because our consciousness is advanced. The consciousness is just like when you in Grand Theft Auto. You might transition in Grand Theft Auto, but you respawn. And you respawn with the same amount of money that you did, the same car, the same everything. You didn't even realize, like, damn, I transitioned. No, you didn't. You just entered into a whole nother dimension. And your consciousness is creating this matrix reality called life, right? But once again, we're getting into the mythology of this whole entire thing, and it starts with the hero twins. Matter of fact, let me get into the actual clip.
The differences. You get what I'm saying?
Let me get into the actual clip, and then we'll talk about the hero twins. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Thank you all for joining me. I got everything labeled. Let me see what this looking like.
My Gemini twin back powering up. No more handshakes and hugs. The energy only circulate. My Gemini twin back powering up. No more handshakes and hugs. The energy only circulate through us. Everybody must be judged. But this time God only favoring us. 20 years in, still got that pen dedicated to bare hard truth.
So he starts off the rap with, it's basically about a Gemini twin that he says no more handshakes and hugs, right? Like, so we twins, but we not cool no more. Then his next line is the energy surges through us. Now, Kendrick Lamar, which he operates in his Gemini, Drake operates, they say Scorpio, but really it's Libra, it's sidereal. Both air signs could represent a level of twin and kinship. And this is like hero twins, where, let's get into it. It's a lot of different symbolisms that you gonna have to be like, all right, this symbolism is just, it's just random, right? So in the Popol Vuh, the hero twins, Hanapu and Zabalan descend into Zalba, the Mayan underworld, where they encounter the owl messengers of the Death Lords. These owls serve as intermediaries carrying messages between the underworld rulers and twins. So that's one level. If you know OVO, they symbol, like Cash Money symbol is a dollar bill. Bad boy symbol is a boy that's bad, little baby boy, right? You would think that a person choosing an owl as a symbol is like just by chance or something like that, or in fact is representing something much more deep and much more abstract. So Drake's OVO, October's very own, features an owl as its emblem. So I'm getting into the owl, and I don't really want to get into the owl. What I'm really looking for is the actual breakdown of of the hero twins. So instead of that, I was just, because you can actually find this on Wikipedia. So that's what I'm going to do. Because I had a cutout, and I just can't seem to find it. So let me screen share hero twins. Because I'm gonna connect it to the Super Bowl in a second. Give me 1 second. After being to the underworld, the lords of the underworld challenged the twins to a Mayan ball game, and they were defeated and executed as a result. One of the twins, whose name is Hun Hunafu, his head was put in a tree. And when the blood moon, the daughter of the blood gatherer, one of the lords of the underworld, passes by his tree, his head speaks to her, then impregnates her with the spittle. So this is like you got to understand metaphysics to like begin to break this down. You got to understand astrology to begin to break this down. But I understand that these people that make it to these certain types of levels where they owning football teams and football leagues, they didn't get that way by accident or through chance. There's a lot of magic and witchcraft that takes place in these particular situations. And you got to understand that this is talking about Mayans in America specifically. Because as much as they try to big up soccer, as much as they try to big up rugby or lacrosse or synchronized swimming, is nothing bigger than the Super Bowl. That when you talk about Maya, there's no difference between Central, North, and South America. Central, North, and South America are European imaginary lines. So the Mayan ball games are the same as the Super Bowl, same as the NBA championship, the same as baseball, and the same as hockey. The big four leagues that take place in America. There are other sports leagues in other places of the world, and I'm sure they're important, but nobody reaches the level of Michael Jordan. No sporting event reaches the level of the Super Bowl, even if more people watch the FIFA. I get it. I'm not dense in that aspect. But we're talking about real live rituals instead of people like really loving the sport. We're talking about real live spectacles and combinations of energies to make a real good ritual. So, in this particular performance, I'm gonna just show you better than I can tell you. If I need a better way, I'll just do it like this. Make it better.
It's your uncle, Sam. And this is the great American game.
So that's telling you right there. He says, this is the great American game. The great American game is very ancient and is very spiritual. And when Kendrick Lamar starts rapping, his first bar isn't about nothing else but his Gemini twin.
Gemini twin back powering up. No more handshakes and hugs. The energy only circulate through us. Everybody must be judged. But this time, God only favoring us. 20 years in, still got their pen dedicated to bare hard truth.
So Kendrick Lamar was rapping to Drake. Let's not be dense about this. Let's not let's not let's not act like Kendrick Lamar versus Drake is why Kendrick Lamar is on this stage. None of the songs that he put out was bigger than Not Like Us, and the reason Not Like Us was good was because it was a diss song. And the performance highlight was the song Not Like Us. That's twin energy. That's saying that if me and you do not combine our energy, then none of this works. If there is not a positive energy, then there is not a negative energy. We don't have motion. The spell is for people when they choose Kendrick Lamar over Drake or Drake over Kendrick Lamar. When you are truly awoke, you see both energies for what they truly are. You understand the game. You understand the symbolism. It's all around you. Apple Music, Super Bowl, halftime, right? The performance start off where he going through a damn wormhole, meaning that they about to put you in a whole nother dimension. Like that's a wormhole, guys. And I tell people all the time, when I was in my deep meditation and I went into another state of consciousness, the first point of changing your life is entering into a wormhole, which is within yourself. You come out of that wormhole and you like seemingly in the same reality. But the reality is you in a whole different one because that's how dimensions work. You can enter into a whole different dimension and then you think that you're in the same dimension, but you're in a different dimension. So when you sitting and waiting for Kendrick Lamar's performance, you got your family there, y'all eating chicken wings, you got blue cheese sauce, ranch dressing, mac and cheese. You done had 4 drinks by now because it's halftime. You nice and sauced up. You are in an altered state of consciousness. And then the performance start off like this. You are officially cooked. You are officially under ritual, and there's no turning back from here. I'm not watching this live. I'll watch it after. I'm not about to make an experience out of it because these people, what we haven't learned nothing from 2020 with Black Lives Matter. And they took all of that energy and got Joe Biden into the presidency, got mansions, got cribs, and we ain't made it no further as a people. And they come right back in 2024 with Kendrick Lamar. The man don't have a catalog for the Super Bowl. Prince was on the Super Bowl. Beyonce was on the Super Bowl. Rihanna was on the Super Bowl. Dr. Dre was on the Super Bowl, y'all. Kendrick Lamar, he not that guy. He don't got number one hits. Garth Brooks should have been on the Super Bowl. Led Zeppelin should have been on the Super Bowl. Give me Janet Jackson. We need hits for the Super Bowl. We don't need we don't need this because black people don't need to be paying attention to this shit because what are we talking about? Who did he have introducing him for this actual? Who did he have in it with him? Samuel L. Jackson.
It's your uncle, Sam.
So okay, now we talking about Samuel L. Jackson. So now what do we got to do? We got to understand the energy that they channeling. What energy is they channeling? They channeling Steven from Candyland. We all know this. They channeling Boule energy. And the whole time through the performance, he telling Kendrick, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. And it's like, well, this is a good performance. Now I'm gonna tell y'all 3 qualities. Was there comic skits in that Super Bowl halftime? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Were there variety acts during that Super Bowl halftime? Yes or no? Yes. Was there dancing during the Super Bowl halftime? Yes or no? Yes. Was there music performance during the halftime? Yes or no? Do you know what I'm describing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm describing a goddamn minstrel show. That's what I'm describing. The minstrel show called minstrelsy. I want y'all to peep the science because our life do not center around performers. We regular people. If Janet Jackson put out a hit song today, we would still have to clock in. We still have to pay our light bill. We regular people. We need to figure shit out. We don't need to be figuring out who performing at the Super Bowl. Unless you're a part of that 1% or 2% or 3%, where your child got a chance, you know your child got a chance to play professional sports by the time he 5. If you play in little league and he not playing for the little league, invest in violins. One's in the chat. Invest in piano lessons. If he in little league and he not running up and down the goddamn field, if he not damn near dunking by the time he turned 5, it ain't for him. He not gonna be good enough. Let him play at the Y. Let him get his shots up. Let him play 3-on-3 with his friends. Do not invest money in fucking pee-wee football and basketball leagues if you know this nigga not going to the NBA. You know he not going to the NFL. You know he not going to the MLB. Get him some engineer or science equipment, piano lessons. Because when we talk about performers, you could be a world trained, national, worldwide performer, and niggas don't even know your name. You just a background bassist for Tina Turner, a Tina Turner cover band. You make millions of dollars just playing the background, but you a classical trained performer. These niggas want to be rappers. One's in the chat. Kids don't want to learn how to play instruments. They want to be Kai Cenat or Lil Baby. That's minstrel. Everything a part of it. Everything Jay Z, Kendrick Lamar, every rapper is a minstrel performer. What we don't know about black performers is that, so this is how it goes. The shows were performed, this is how it started off. The shows were performed by mostly white actors wearing blackface makeup for the purpose of comically portraying racial stereotypes of African Americans. However, there were also some African American performers and black only minstrel groups that formed and toured. So when you are not in your natural state of making music, which could be some Brazilian funk, um, mariachi music, you could be goddamn drumming on something ridiculous, but you too busy. Oh, my mic, yeah, yeah, and ain't on nothing because the whole concept have started from these white people programming the world on what black people is like, and the idiocracy of black people to not be like James John Coltrane, to not be like George Clinton, but want to be like a person that wants to be destruct. So, in reference to artists that are Kendrick Lamar adjacent, he had a stage full of rappers on his Amazon show. These people, they're not uplifting the black community. So you can't say, well, Kendrick Lamar, he have positive lyrics, and let's not be dense. Let's be real. Let's not pick and choose how this shit works. Cause when we pick and choose for the sake of money and money ain't real, we done sold everybody up the fucking river. The shit that we do as adults, it affects the younger people. That's what we got to get into the understanding because who we are today, we're going to be elders. And God forbid you become an elder that youth cannot rely on. And you ain't going to be able to be an elder that people can rely on because you only give a fuck about the Super Bowl. Because when we talk about USA, when we talk about fiat currency, People be like, yeah, well, hood, but that Super Bowl, that was deep. He did like the United States flag. That was deep. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. I say the minstrelsy have done got sophisticated. I see the minstrelsy have turned into a Ouroboros where at 2025 we should at least be in a space where Jesus Christ is performing at the Super Bowl and we don't give a fuck because we still talking about the NFL. We still talking about Samuel L. Jackson, right? In that movie, the the thing that Candyland was into was Mandingo fighting. So we got Samuel L. Jackson, we got the Django, we got Django and Mandingo fighting, but we also got Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl NFL, which is nothing but modern day Mandingo fighting. When you look at the NFL, it's 53% black players within the NFL. And yes, they may be millionaires. And if it's down for millions, that's all we care about. But we got to also understand that the average NFL career, and we're not even talking about the NFL. Some of y'all got daddies and uncles that play college football, played football in high school, and that nigga ain't the same. One's in the chat. Took years off that man's life playing some damn game. And we ain't talking, he ain't even make it to the NFL. We all know somebody like that too. But we all don't know somebody that made it to the NFL. We might have known of somebody, but it ain't no guarantee that somebody in your family has made it to the NFL. People have played football and really hurt themselves. They've been real good and then they injured. That's crazy. You having car crashes every damn play. Don't play on the damn line. You just soon as you having a car crash every single play. You a running back, you get blindsided. You probably ain't never played football. But if you ever played football, ain't nothing like you just running and you don't know nothing of what's happening, and the nigga just come out of nowhere and just level your ass with no regard for nothing of your life. His whole point is to just he see you not seeing him. He ain't going to be like, hey, I'm about to tackle you. He about to knock you on your ass. And that happened every day for some people. The average high school football player have a very small chance of making it to the NFL. So you putting your kids' life at risk for nothing. That's dangerous, right? Our average years of an NFL player. 3 years. To get to the NFL, you done spent your whole life trying to make it to the NFL. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because this is real. Men is basically dying, and we'll say we'll give you $1 million for 3 years, but you go and get CTE, right? Is football and CTE a prevalent issue? CTE is a brain disease that's linked to repeated head trauma that is prevalent in football players. I personally am not going to support the NFL, bro. I'm not about to. It's not like bro. It's mostly black men, and they mostly gonna die from brain disease. that they would have never had if they didn't play it. So you got to say, is there anything else that this man could do to become wealthy, to become successful, that does not relate to him beating his head over and over again? And no black man would even think to play football unless he wasn't seduced by these stupid ass halftime shows and these stupid ass celebrations and these stupid ass victories, because they is not showing the families that got to watch their fucking dad suffer because he just wanted to play football. He didn't even make, like, this is real life shit that, yeah, Kendrick Lamar sure did a fucking good job at the fucking Super Bowl. Is black boy still getting CTE? Yeah. Fuck it. This is very serious. This is very dangerous. This is very hurtful. And just because a nigga is rapping on stage with some fucking theatrics, you're not gonna resolve the pain and trauma. And these people are making billions of dollars off of black trauma. Cause one thing's for sure, and two things for certain, you don't have a league. Maybe baseball, maybe hockey, but you do not have basketball, you do not have football without black bodies, black sacrifice, black dreams being completely burst because they didn't play specific politics or because they got injured, tore their ligaments in 5 different places. They don't cover that shit on ESPN. Because if they covered that shit on ESPN, if they told you everything that had to do with sports, none of you niggas would be playing it or watching a halftime show. That's because they got you under ritual and it's all theatrics. You don't be righteous and then say the Super Bowl halftime show because it's too much blood on these people's hands. We was conscious and we was woke when they damn blackballed a black quarterback for having sense. The man didn't say nothing wrong. He said, y'all forgot about Colin Kaepernick, didn't y'all? Y'all going to support the NFL after Colin Kaepernick. What did he say? Because if he said something wrong, I just want to get his quote for real. Colin Kaepernick said he wants to abolish police and prisons. The ever present threat of premature death at the hands, knees, chokeholds, tasers, and the guns of law enforcement has only further ingrained its anti black foundation into the institutions of policing. To eradicate anti blackness, we must abolish the police, and the abolition of one without the other is impossible. So he was on some revolutionary shit, got blackballed from the NFL, and now we don't even care because Kendrick is on the Super Bowl. So y'all know how I get. Give me 1 second. It will for sure get to a point where it start glitching, man. I wish they would just make a computer that'll work forever. it's got to upgrade.
Game.
So let me get into. Let's just get into this.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
He said the revolution is about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. And I don't think that was satirical. I think that was right and exact because we got to go back in time. We can't just be acting like we can just make the rules because let's really listen to the root of where that comes from.
Well, you know, the catchphrase, what that was all about, the revolution will not be televised, that was about the fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying that, like, that the thing that's...
So why would the revolution be televised? Like that message to me is deeply counterintuitive to where we need to be. The revolution will not be televised because the revolution is going to be within all of us. But we have gotten to a point where we not even strong enough. And I'm talking about the spiritualists that's gravitate into this performance as something groundbreaking. How? He is the wrong guy. And it's cool. It's the right time, but the right person is always going to be you because we will never see a revolution at the damn Super Bowl. Because what's revolutionary about the Super Bowl and the NFL if they go bankrupt and they cease to exist as a company? You don't get movies made in reference to CTE and how lives are ruined, and you understand how lives are ruined because it's scientific fact. People is getting into car crashes all game. I'm not watching that shit. I don't like just watching violence. If you watch Django and you seen the Mandingo fights and you couldn't really watch it, you cringed a little bit when you watched that scene, but you all cheering for football, you are under hypnosis, mind control, deep trance. You need to wake the fuck up. You're not spiritual as you think when you just bypass. It's called spiritual bypassing. Everything slow. Even my damn phone slow. So I was scared to screen, but I'm too afraid to share the screen now. This thing want to be glitchy. Spiritual bypassing is using spiritual practices to avoid difficult emotions, unresolved issues, and unfinished tasks. It can involve suppressing negative emotions, ignoring trauma, or denying parts of yourself. And I know the first thing you're gonna think it's not that deep, hood. It's just the Super Bowl. And I'm saying you're right. It's not that deep. I'm just picking apart the conversation and looking at the situation for what it truly is: a ritual, a spectacle. The display of Dennis Schroeder just said that. I'm gonna pull up his quote because people will say you making shit up. Dennis Schroeder, who is a German black basketball player, said this about the NBA and slavery. In an interview with NBC Sports Bay Area on Tuesday, Schroeder compared the trades to modern slavery, calling it a cutthroat business. When they trade you to from the Atlanta to Detroit, they don't care if you got a foundation that help homeless kids in the area. You better take your ass to Detroit. They don't care what you got going on or how you feel or how you love the team. It is a business. It's a business so deep and so many people want to play in these sports leagues. It couldn't be nothing but evil. And we can't be the revolution is not watching the fucking Super Bowl. The revolution is millions of people not watching it or not caring. It is never going to be revolutionary to spiritualize this particular event. Let me see if I got any more videos. Yes, I do.
Hey, Doc, can I get a drop? No, H boom cool from the west side of Senegal. Full moon, let the wolves out. I've been a dog.
So he goes, full moon, let the wolves out. I've been a dog. But let's talk about let's really finish on this because it's super important. Now we have a full moon on Wednesday. We have a full moon on Wednesday, but we also in a month from Wednesday, give or take. So March 28th, no, March 14th rather. Let's bring it up. March 14th, we have a total lunar eclipse or a blood moon. So that is a full moon. And I'm pretty sure that the rituals that was taking place for this full moon or for this full moon energy, like I said, you celebrate the full moons 3 days before and 3 days after the actual event. So Sunday is specifically siphoning off of full moon energy. So the things that are taking place now will have reverberating effects. So utilizing this full moon, this next new moon is very powerful time. I'm saying all of this to say that don't let no fucking Super Bowl get you off of doing your work, riding these energetic highs that these spiritualists like to put out in reference to some spiritual thing. Oh, the football game was 44-20 or 40-22. And if you add 2 plus 2 up, that's 4. It's 44. But black boys are dying. So I don't give a fuck what the score is. Black men getting CTE. They choosing to play it, but we choosing to watch it. We are the energy behind it. If we don't watch it, they don't play it. We put our kids in that shit. We perfectly fine with the ritual, and then we gonna spiritualize it as if it matters when it don't matter. What the score was. It was 24-0 at halftime. It was a Kobe ritual. No, the fuck it wasn't. Somebody left the game injured. It's a spectacle. It's like watching people fight to the death. And if your ass was out there, you wouldn't want to be out there, right? The amount of drugs and steroids and all types of pain relievers, and I understand they chose to be their hood. I'm talking about having empathy for other people. I'm talking about being an ascended master and looking at the totality of the ritual and understanding that the ritual is what puts the consciousness to sleep. These spectacles have been putting people to sleep for lifetimes and generations. You have people live and die, goddamn Patriot fans, but never did no spiritual work in referencing who they are at a spiritual level. So this, in a month from now, there'll be a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon. This is one of the most powerful times for manifestation and doing spiritual work. And the blood moon gonna happen whether or not the fucking Super Bowl happened. And I put this in the article I put out this article in January. So I'm saying this to say we're talking about a total lunar eclipse in Leo. When we dealing with Leo, we dealing with Kundalini activation. This is the year of the snake. Okay, it's going to be so this full moon that we're going to be dealing with February 12th. This is going to be square Uranus. Uranus is for like random, spontaneous, amazing events. So if you can understand that this full moon, both full moons, is going to be square and sextile to Uranus, there's going to be a lot of exciting things that are happening. This is why they will take your energy and take your attention and take your awareness because of who you are. You are the currency. You are the light. You are the money. When you utilize your creative powers in reference to anything that you got going, you keep this shit going. That's the real currency. That's the real money. And Uranus in that Aries Taurus energy, like it's opportunities for your life to change, and you can make retirement money this year. But you got to think: am I paying attention to what's happening in the world? Am I stressing out, or am I deeply intentional in in just all of the things that's going on with me? Like, am I do I even understand myself to have spiritual energy in the first place? Like, if you can understand how powerful this blood moon is, you will start to like very shy away from whatever is going on. And even if it pulls to your attention, you will be able to decode it. You will be able to understand it. Because it's a lot of things and a lot of times that you will say stuff that's centered in truth and people not going to like it. And you will then decide, all right, I'm going to stop speaking in truth because I want to be liked with people. I want to be liked. That's going to shut you down. So it's a lot of people, you know that this is the enemy's plan because if you say anything negative to Kendrick Lamar, people, they go look at you strange. You say, man, I don't really like his music. They're like, what? What you mean you don't like his music? You better like his music, right? It's this old, you know, Black History Month energy where we act like when we went to black school, it was kumbaya. We black people, when we went to black schools, that shit was hell. We don't got fond memories of going to school, and it wasn't the teachers either. It was that damn school bus that walk home from school. It was terrible. So like let's understand that when you tell the truth, black people not gonna always love you and like you. And I would gauge to if people loving you and liking you, then more or less you're not telling the truth. So within the mythology of the hero twins, because the hero twins are diametrically opposed energies. The sun and the moon are diametrically opposed energies. This what makes them twins. A conjunction, when you study astrology, classical astrology, what they teach in old school astrology books, they usually will have like a conjunction and an opposition in the same little paragraph because they basically mean the same thing. So what could easily be something where y'all like linked in the same, or it could be something like the love of your life live in China or some shit like that. And you like, damn, I don't even want to be with nobody except the person that's in China. That's twin energy. So what am I talking about? The Super Bowls taking place at New Orleans. while Drake is in Australia, down under. Two oppositional energies, but yet and still they still vibrating on the same level, inextricably connected. Right when Kendrick Lamar did his first tour, Drake was there. The resurgence of Kendrick Lamar's career, because his shit was going on the skids ever since that Mr. Morale. People they wasn't really feeling it. But he had a resurgence of a career with this Drake energy. And you gotta understand, if he could put out a song about growing up in Compton and it'd be a number one hit that everybody loved, he would do it. What makes it twins and what makes it particular twin energy is that if he could have it his way, he wouldn't even be linked. He don't like going on a Super Bowl and performing this song because what it signals is because you're not stopping Drake from doing sold out tours in Australia. Drake was still the number one worldwide streamer on Spotify. So y'all didn't he not you're not killing his career. It's a performative act and it sounds good and we can talk about it on social media. But at the end of the day, these two people are, from my understanding, they're working together to take down the industry from a different perspective through beef. And what we'll see with Drake and Kendrick Lamar is that they'll have a Nas and Jay-Z moment where just when you think the music industry is dead for good, Drake and Kendrick Lamar will put out a song like Black Republican. Because this is also allowing Drake to sue UMG. And in reference to Kendrick Lamar, he had a 1 year deal with UMG. Now he's out of that contract. So they say that, it's the Squid Games, but really it's the Sony PlayStation. And that's the label that Kendrick Lamar is signed to, Sony. So it's just different little things that you see um, that just show you that when he's rapping, he's talking about a full moon, and one of the next big full moons is going to be a blood moon, which is tied into the hero twin mythology. And I know that they're part of the hero twin mythology because their mom, right? She's like she's like it's basically a virgin birth. And when I read it, it's like through DNA and genetics, people will just spawn. So what the establishment, with the government, with the billionaires, with the aristocracy, what they want to eradicate black bodies off the earth. They want to do it mentally, spiritually, physically. This is their hopes and dreams, but they can't because the energy it keeps it keeps coming through the DNA, and they would love to defeat and to stay on top of us, but will continually rise because what they don't want you to know is that through Kundalini, that is your salvation, that is your awakening. This birth is both a divine inheritance and a challenge to the established order. That's the symbology of this performance. But we got to understand it's not within that performance, it's within you. The hero twins, the Gemini aspect is an energy that is within you, your divine inheritance. This is when you awaken, to who you truly are, then remember what I said, when you begin to when you tell the truth, people they stop liking you, right? Because everybody is a part of the established order, everybody is a part of the matrix, and Kundalini is an inside job. And the reality of all of the, when we talk about shadow work, when we talk about chakra work, when we talk about studying your chart, this is all about you. When we talk about the Bible, this is all about you. And there is no guarantee that if you do your inner work, that is going to help and heal and save anybody else. And you might ask, well, Hood, why should I even do it if my family not going to like me? My relationship going to be is going to be strained. Because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. None of this human shit really truly matters. If people are disrupting and disturbing your peace and your connection to who you are as a soul, they can literally go to hell. Because you really don't owe nobody shit for real, in the sense that, I'm not talking about your kids, I'm not talking about your husband, I'm not talking about your wife, but to a certain degree, if your kids is reaching a certain age, if your husband is a certain level of out of pocket, if your wife is a certain level of out of pocket, they can get it too. At certain degrees and levels where you say enough is enough, I have to raise Kundalini. So y'all have all been in situations and circumstances where y'all have made tough decisions to leave situations that society said, oh, you shouldn't do that, but you had to, because Kundalini is Kundalini. Meaning that you'll reflect on it and you say, damn, I had to do that to get to the point that I'm at today. Well, people was looking at me, they was judging me. My wife said I was crazy. My husband said I'd never be shit for what I'm doing, but I had to do it. As an astrologer, I hear it all the time. But ultimately, you don't just keep doing it. You get to a point where you say, all right, the reason that I did it is, and I can't take it back. What do I do now? You raise Kundalini. Because the twins is dualistic. It is external. We're watching a Super Bowl, but in all of the spiritual breakdowns that I've seen, it all resorts back to you. Your specific part in the challenge to the established order, in the overall reality that we are a government that is being tricked and hoodwinked with fiat currency. What is the real value? Because it's not gold. Gold doesn't have inherent value. They just agreed that gold had inherent value. We should know and understand. It should be in our rap songs. It should be in our movies. Where is the value of this country? When you realize that, and they will arrest the hell out of you if you say that you have money connected to your birth certificate. You go into jail. They not playing about that shit. You know why? Because it's true. But it ain't enough, and we okay with sending them to jail because the courts don't even have jurisdiction to arrest you. We give them jurisdiction because black people, we know everything about Kendrick Lamar and we know nothing about law. We know nothing about really organizing and coming to government's front door steps and saying, y'all gave 50 billion to fucking Afghanistan so they could do plays. Y'all was helping people in the Gaza Strip by the billions of dollars, and you haven't given us shit. And they got you tricked. It's a lot of shit going on. They say, our taxes pay for this. Your taxes don't pay for shit. If they wanted to fix a bridge, they just send niggas to fix a bridge. However money it take for them to fix the bridge, they'll just give it to them because they create the money. We working for something that we already are. If the government can go into $20 trillion of debt and you can't even get a loan for $1 million, that's a problem. A 20 trillion, you can get you worth $1 million, big dog. You worth $1 million. If the government is worth 20 trillion, you worth $1 million that you can invest in your land and your property and get real things for your life. This is what we're coming to. It's enough space, it's enough land for everybody. We all cluttered into these cities, and all of this is shifting. But it starts with these blood moons. So with these blood moons, I would say prepare specifically through raising Kundalini. Don't take my word for it. Do your own, Google it. Research. That's all I've been doing. I just been reading. I told y'all about that panic lecture. I've been reading stuff. I've been doing. I've just been studying about it. I've just been learning more about it, and the more that I read about it, the more that like I said, I learn, I teach, I learn. But with all of that being said, in this year of the snake, our true our true preparation starts from within, right? So there is an owl symbolism that's clear within this particular mythology because this is the Not Like Us video, and you have Kendrick Lamar um, swatting a owl pinata, right? So I wonder what the pinata history is, because it better not be in related to Mayan. The Aztecs celebrated the birth of the sun and war god by filling a container with treasures and breaking it with a stick, right? So this is a Mesoamerican tradition. Aztecs, Mayans, it's the same thing. So this is real life symbolism within the zeitgeist of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, the hero twins. Right? You say, well, what do this have to do with the Mayan hero twins? Hold on. Getting ahead of myself. The hero twins are dealing with the owl messengers of the Death Lords. So that's an ancient mythology which would break into what we know now as Bohemian Grove, right? That used the big owl as their mascot because the owls represent OVO. But these are, like I said, man, Drake is a spiritualist. So Kendrick Lamar's attack on Drake is an attack on people who consider themselves spiritual. Kendrick Lamar represents the United States government. Do y'all not see that? One's in the chat if if you saw the performance and didn't see it shrouded with United States symbolism, Uncle Sam, the flag. That's what Kendrick Lamar represents. He said it was. He said it out his own mouth. It's the right time, but I'm the wrong guy. I've sold my soul. I'm with the United States government now. Drake represents the owl. The owl serve as intermediaries that carry messages between the underworld and the twins. While the owls are often associated with wisdom, see, you got to understand that Drake and Kendrick Lamar, they are contemporaries. On Kendrick Lamar, I mean Drake's CD "Take Care," he got a Kendrick Lamar feature. They on the song "Poetic Justice" together, meaning that the owl served as an intermediary that carried messages between the underworld and the twins. But then Kendrick Lamar, he said, fuck the owl. He bashed the owl. Said, I'm not going to deal with the owl no more. I'm going to deal with the United States government. I'm not going to deal with the occult. And you can say, and I'm telling you, the war is OTO, which is OVO. And I just put that together as I'm talking. The war is always going to be OTO, Aleister Crowley versus the United States government and the British colonial empire. Because within Aleister Crowley, he tied in with the Egyptians. The Egyptians is just everything that we are as black people. That's what OTO represents, and we can be a part of it by doing our own rituals and not be a part of it, but you would be more connected to Drake if you was an active spiritualist versus you would be anti Drake if you're an anti spiritualist and you're like a socialist spiritualist, right? You're like all doing everything in reference to black power and coming together, but at the end of the day, if and then when you with these groups of people, you don't know who against you. You don't know who hating on you. You don't know who doing spells against you. You don't know who jealous of you. And that's the nature of the groups. But it didn't get washed away with Hotep peace, brother. Right? So what we talking about here is something very deep and esoteric and spiritual, but you don't see it. I was privileged enough to be in a situation where somebody got possessed to tell me the game on who Drake was as a regular Aubrey Graham. Aubrey Graham is in the cult spiritual shit. You would meet him at a botanical or a bookstore type shit, and he would start telling you about the Orisha or some shit like that. That's who Aubrey Graham is. So attack on him, and you got to understand these as symbolisms, and you got to figure out: is you a United States American government aligner? These niggas is Boule, Masonic, all day, every day, up and down. These niggas bullied you in elementary school, called you weird. Or are you a spiritualist that had to fucking rise from the phoenix like a rise from the ashes like a phoenix? The hero twins represent a connection to darkness, deception, and the ability to navigate between realms, both literally and metaphorically. This is what this is talking about. Now, you said navigate between realms. What are you talking about? Like, I'll have to just show the video again because I'm telling you, when that shit first started and you ain't understand it was putting you in a portal, let's just say you was cooked. Y'all got the good LED flat screens too. It just hot your eyes. Anything after that, you probably like, man, that performance was amazing. Nah, they just cooked your brain cells for no reason. So yeah, man, prepare for this full moon, prepare for this lunar eclipse. Um, let's see. I'm gonna finish this. Oh, that's not it. Just trying to get this thing together. So yeah, Drake's October's very own features an owl as its emblem, symbolizing wisdom, night vision, and strategy. The owl, in Drake's case, represents a silent but all seeing power, one that watches from the shadows, observing and calculating moves. The OVO owl is deeply embedded in Drake's identity, making it more than just a logo. It's a statement of his ability to move in silence, foresee industry trends, and maintain dominance. And this is not nothing specific to Drake. He's utilizing a symbolism of an owl. And the owl is just a deeper symbolism of psychic powers. which we all have access to through the modality of raising Kundalini. So when you attack the owl, you're attacking what it represents in a symbol. If I throw on a uniform and a person, remember when they tried to burn LeBron James uniforms when he went to Miami? They didn't never burn him. They burnt the memory or the symbolism of him being a Cavalier. And the irony to that, his ass came back to Cleveland and won him a championship. So I'm saying all of this to say symbolism is king. Kendrick Lamar, aware of this symbolism, flipped it in his dick track is crazy. Diss tracks by associating the OVL with darkness, deceit, and even a connection to the underworld. So it's like, well, why are you talking about this? Because don't you feel like don't you gotta have a little sense of irony in your blood to make you wonder why do the hero twins of Mayan mythology deal with the same owls? They deal with the ball game. Don't you think it's weird that this beef was capped off by a Super Bowl? Never in the history of rap beef have it been capped off by a Super Bowl. The hero twins, they descend into the underworld to play a game. And the way that they win the game is that the owls keep sending them messages. Don't you think it's a little weird that these two mythologies, well, one mythology connects to real world events? Don't you want to get into the American side of this and outside of the fight for your rights type shit? Because I'm telling you, there is a lot of power in the land that you live in. Part of the minstrelsy's biggest goal is to keep you in Africa, but I will congratulate or, I like Kendrick Lamar actually, but he did say in one of his songs that we indigenous, right? But let's get into the indigenous mythology, especially the Mayan, Olmec, Aztec mythology, because that's us too. The Brazilian mythology, because that's us too. We never created lines that separated this part of the country to the southern and central parts of the country. That is a European Caucasian invention. So we understand a lot of the rituals that's getting put down because these energies are much more stronger because this is their house, right? That's why American sports are very popular because of the energies that these athletes house. Okay, reason why you don't know who is the Egyptian number one basketball player or the number one football team in Rome. You have no clue. But they know who Michael Jordan is. They know who Kobe Bryant is. They know him. Because we're talking about the energy that these particular people house. And it's the athletes and it's the entertainers. The athletes and the entertainers merge during the Super Bowl. So therefore you can really get a gauge of what American mythology is being displayed. This year they did a full hero twin blood moon ritual. And I would say get your chart, figure out where this blood moon is happening in your chart, and start preparing now. Deal with the full moon, deal with the new moon, but don't get caught slipping with this blood moon. Get into yourself, raise Kundalini, activate Kundalini. You know, don't play with this shit, man. We got our Chakra Nova 777 intensive starting Sunday. We going through each chakra, raising Kundalini through each chakra 1 week at a time. We meet every Sunday. Wednesdays are optional. We have class hours where we can meet, chop it up, talk like that. Everything is online via Zoom. And we just hope that those who are interested in Kundalini raising their chakras is something. This is going to be my fourth installment with Chakra Nova. So I've been doing it a while. But like I said, I'm just one of those types of people that puts a lot into these particular courses. So over these past 2 weeks, week and a half, I've been studying nothing but Kundalini stuff. Um, just getting really in tune with the energy, and I'm really shocked of how it manifests and shows up in my life, and very excited for you to discover your own energy through raising Kundalini in your life. So, with all that being said, click the link in the description, scan the QR code to learn more about it. Hope you all enjoyed this video as we discussed, the I would say I would say Kendrick Lamar versus Drake Super Bowl. I didn't get into the football game or nothing like that because I'm anti football and I'm anti minstrelsy as well. But when you see 15 conscious people talk about something, it is something in me that just like, let me put my 2% into this, you know what I'm saying? And you can drink whatever milk you want to drink. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed my perspective and you got something out of it and it forced you or allowed you to go deeper within your own spiritual development. With all that being said, I'm the Hood Mystic. This has been the Shift Report, where shift happens, and I'll see you all on the flip side in the next video. Peace.
The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.